A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Meggetland in the heart of Edinburgh for the FOSROC Super 6 finale to the sprint season. We're live at Meggetland for Heriots Rugby against the Boroughmuir Bears. Well, this may be the home ground of the Boroughmuir Bears, but it is Heriot's home fixture this afternoon, and they will be hoping to finish off with a victory. It's been a tough sprint series for Heriots, who yesterday confirmed through mutual consent that they have parted ways with their coach Andrew Kelly. Fingerless and Stuart Edwards will be in charge for Heriots this afternoon in what's sure to be a very interesting game. After the sprint series, there's a little bit of a break, and then the championship returns. So the 2022 FOSROC Super 6 Championship returns this August with 33 matches, and it all gets underway on Friday the 5th of August. We can't wait for the championship, the FOSROC Super 6 Championship, to return this August. It has been a very interesting season thus far. Bruce Millar is alongside me for this game. This afternoon I was looking at the offside line, one of the websites in Scotland that covers rugby. Colin Renton saying the sprint has provided evidence the overall standard in S6 is improving. That continues. The upcoming championship will be very interesting indeed, and I think he's nailed it there.
I read that this morning, funnily enough, and I agree completely. The standard has been absolutely superb, and I think Chris Patterson touched on it last night. Watched a very entertaining game here to decide where the sprint championship ended up, and he commented on the fact that all the teams are trying to play an attacking brand of rugby. He said that over, perhaps a few seasons ago it was very much defence dominated, whereas as rugby in general, international rugby is moving towards more attack focused game, and the Super 6 has followed suit, and it has been absolutely fantastic to watch.
Yeah, it's been very refreshing. You mentioned some of the levels of professional rugby. I mean, the Lions against South Africa looked a different sport to what we've seen in the Super 6, and it's great to see rugby being embraced and the sport being played in this manner.
Yes, and touching on something slightly different but related, it's been great to see so many young players involved in Super 6. The coach is willing to just throw them in at the deep end. Last time I watched Boroughmuir Bears, I awarded the player of the match to Liam McConnell, 17 years old. And if they are sort of brought up, if you like, playing that style of rugby, it equips them much better. And when hopefully many of them end up eventually in Glasgow and Edinburgh colours and perhaps Scotland.
Let's have a look at the starting 15s here this afternoon at Meggetland. Let's start with the nominated home team. They are Heriots. And Heriots this afternoon make several changes from the side that played and lost at the Green Yards last weekend. Notable, Bruce Houston moves from full-back back into fly half. He'll wear 26. Ross Jones comes back in. It's a very experienced Edinburgh partnership of Savala and Hutchison with Procure and Godsmark. The pack looks fairly solid as well, led by Keane Linus and McLaren, and Rory Leishman is at 8. It's a young-looking bench, but with some good talent on there, including number 21, Zach Smith.
That is a very strong-looking Heriot side, you've got to say. If you look at the two teams, they seem to be going in different directions. Boroughmuir Bears having started the season badly and winning their last 3. Heriots Rugby having won their first 2, and they've not been able to win in the last 4. So you would say on form, Boroughmuir Bears would be the side to pick. But looking at that side, that Heriot side, I have to say that is a strong pack and a back line. You've got two Scotland Sevens players on the wing, Edinburgh centres that you mentioned, and an established half-back pairing of McAndrew and Houston.
Boroughmuir Bears are certainly going to have their work cut out here this afternoon. Familiar surroundings for them. A little word with Graham Shield, their coach, earlier. It's not been easy for him. He's had a lot of players out injured, but the Boroughmuir 15 that will start here this afternoon just has a little bit of experience in there. Harry Mercer at 10 is always a good option for the Boroughmuir Bears. And there's confirmation of their lineup. I like Scott McGinley at 7. I think it's a strong back row with Josh King and Tristan Andrews in there. And look out for Connor Allen and Ronan Kerr. They're a centre partnership with plenty of prospects to make an impact on this game?
Yeah, there's some really interesting matchups. Tristan Andrews and Rory Leishman, the Heriots captain, going head to head. At number 8, it's the centres I'm really interested in. Conor Allen and Ronan Kerr. They've been involved, but they both make their first start today up against Cammy Hutchison and Charlie Savala with 25 Edinburgh appearances, 21 points for the Edinburgh side. And that's a real baptism of fire for those Boroughmuir centres.
And just to make it easy for the players here in Edinburgh on this beautiful June day, the wind will be a factor. I can assure you of that. We were watching kicking practice for both areas, the flag of the Boroughmuir Bears fluttering away, and you can see the trees in the background. And Bruce, we watched some of the kicks going over. You know, kickers were starting outside the post and it was bending back in from one side, the opposite from the other side. It really is tricky out here.
Yes, I presume that they have some sort of methodology to it. I'm not one to comment on kicking, but it just appears that it's a bit of a guess when I watch it as to where they will aim it and where it might end up. But as you say, the amount of practice they put in beforehand, geared up so that they know roughly where to set it off. But yeah, it's a bit of a guessing game.
Yeah, some days you get yourself ready for a game, a little bit of kicking practice, you take 2 or 3 pot shots and you think, well, that's okay. But on a day like today, certainly very tricky indeed. As you mentioned, Bruce, the two teams coming on different currents of form, if you like. Boroughmuir, sometimes they always appear to be the bridesmaid, but they've hit their stride in the last few weeks, got some very impressive results again, and they'll be hoping to put one over on their old Edinburgh rivals.
They very much have, yes. Lost to the Ayrshire Bulls in the opening day and then beaten by Heriots 38-22 here in round 2, and then didn't score a point against Watsonians. But it was that victory 26-25 up at Bridgehawk against what we now know is a very good Stirling County side that turned their season around, and then 2 victories over the Southern Knights, and just seeming to get a bit better every week. And in contrast, Heriots, I mean, they beat the Southern Knights in week 1, then that victory over the Boroughmuir Bears. I watched the game when they were narrowly beaten by the Ayrshire Bulls 17-14. It was the loss of Chris Keane that was key in that, but since then they were not good up at Stirling County, and then losing against the Southern Knights, so they seem to be going the wrong direction. But as I say, on paper, looking at their squad today, they have a very good chance.
So the Boroughmuir players come out and give a little bashing to the bags to get themselves warmed up. But Heriots, as I say, the nominated home side here this afternoon, are led out by number 8, Rory Leishman. Heriots will be in their traditional colours, as will Boroughmuir, the green and the blue, with the navy shorts and the navy socks, up against the familiar colours of Heriots, the blue and white hoops, the navy shorts as well. It's an old Edinburgh rivalry. It doesn't matter when Heriots and Boroughmuir get together at any level, there's always something about it.
Yes, any derby, an Edinburgh one, we're talking about the form there, but it will just go out the window today completely. It's interesting that Boroughmuir chose not to go back into the change rooms. They've just finished their warm-up and walked straight across onto the pitch. So our referee is Ian Kenny, who meteorologist as well, just commenting on the wind as well. It's his 3rd sprint game of the season. It's his 10th game of the Super 6 in 2021-22. He has shown yellow cards in 6 of the previous 9 games, so players better be on their best behaviour.
Ready, lads, in.
The final Super 6 sprint fixture for 21-22. Watsonians clinched the crown on this ground last night. A thrilling game against Stirling County, and we're underway. Basically, winner takes all. Boroughmuir hoping to be the best of the bottom half. There's a beautiful take inside the 22. And Bruce, you sometimes aim to get yourself up to the halfway line, but it's even better than that, 8 or 9 metres inside.
Yeah, no messing about there, just straight to Murdo McAndrew, and he hoofed it. So it's always difficult to know exactly what way the wind is going, but I'm assuming that it is, well, it'll be going across the pitch, I imagine. Whether it's a little bit behind Heriots, I don't know, but that's a great clearance.
That gap is too big, Boroughmuir. Step in,
so Jerry
please.
Blythe Lafferty
they're on there,
is going to have to get this one right. It's not a day for being thrown in, and there's why. That is a tremendous take by Jack Fisher at 5 for Heriots. Houston in on the tackle, recycle quickly, taken in again. It's Josh King up to the halfway line again. Rudy Swan gets it across, and there's the error. Harry Mercer unable to hold on, but already a couple of good takes from the line out, good carries from the lock forwards.
Yes, and a real feature of their victory against the Southern Knights, I think it was the second one that I watched, was Boroughmuir ruck speed, and it just never gave the Southern Knights defence a chance to get organised, and already they're just a hint of the same today. That's clearly a feature of their game, the way they want to play, but just that unforced error, meaning they didn't get a chance to go through the phases.
So it'll be Murdo McAndrew. There's 9 for Heriots. He'll get the ball in. And the referee doesn't like what he sees.
Okay. Get a bind on the bind. This side, stay apart. Thank you very much.
It's an interesting battle in the front row. I mean, hooker Jerry Blythe Lafferty, 18 years old, scored in his first game, so we'll be thinking this is easy, but he's up against Chris Keenan and Michael Lyons, both about 31 years old, I think, a more grizzled, let's say, front row, and this might be a more challenging day for that Boroughmuir Bears front row.
Bind!
Set play, always crucial. McAndrew in, gets it across. And first receiver that time was Sam Fakir. That's a good tackle by Harry Swan. And the turnover almost enacted, but it's Murdo McAndrew who gets the ball away. That's on to Savala. Savala gets some help from Scott McGinley, watching over him, seeing Wilson in support for Heriots. The pass goes behind, and just trotting back into his position goes Sam Fakir.
Have the line, please, Heriot.
Nice launch from the set piece there with Sam Fakir coming in at first receive, and he just stumbled. There was a hint of a gap in front of him, but he did well to get the offload away.
You have to go around the other side next time.
Again, just a careless error by Heriots, so both sides making early mistakes.
That's another good take by Jack Fisher. In at the back is Blythe Lafferty. Youngster looking up, just offers the ball to Swan. Well, they got underneath the box kick. Swirls infield. It's not been touched by anybody yet. Ian Wilson taken down quickly by Ronan Kerr.
Don't advance.
That's going to be my Godsmart. Sent it away. Tom Brown. Well, the referee told him 3 times to stop. That's outside onto Mercer. Mercer's found a gap. Mercer, the little offload. It's terrific play from the Bears. Now back on the inside. Bears shaping up again through Jack Fisher. This time, Josh King watching. Swan, up comes Brown, the fullback. Gets it across. There's Josh King with the black headband. Other way, Heriots have got a man down. The referee will be aware of that. Boroughmuir might be going that way, and he will have to bring things to a halt.
Restart Boroughmuir ball. Sorry, no,
you can see here, at the scrum half, Swan had looked to his right. Play would have continued, but he was intent on going to the left.
I think so, yes, and I mean all that came back to Rory Swan's box kick, which certainly didn't go where he intended it. It was probably trying to keep it in the 15-metre channel down the stand side, but the wind going across the way, it went in field, but it wasn't dealt with well by Heriots and kind of thrown back, and they lost a lot of ground. A bit of a panicky kick by Godsmark, and it meant that the Bears were then attacking against a very disorganised Heriots defence down that far touchline. Made good ground, started to get into their shape, and it was just broken up there. As you say, perhaps a bit of poor judgment there by Swan with the direction he went. Chris Keane, I think the man down, seems to be okay.
I've asked him to keep his bind up. If you can keep your feet under your body, okay? Thank you very much.
Mark McGinley just been asked to keep his feet. Referee indicating he's going to check the binds here. Tristan Andrews at 8 for the Bears. Potential, but he'll leave it for Swan. Swan gets it inside. A little turn by Connor Allen. That's a good tackle and turnover by Heriots. Godsmart. In comes Michael Linus.
Back foot, 6.
Murdo McAndrew stretching for the box kick. Tom Brown realised that was going to go out of play.
Heriots on the line.
It's good clearance from Heriots, and that's where it's not only taking a man by the legs now. If you can go in and rip that ball out, it can make such a difference.
Yeah, and there's certain players who are very, very good at it. It's not just about strength, it's about technique and getting your hands in the right place. And it was a fantastic attacking position for the Bears, but stripped by Heriots and a good clearing kick. I wonder how much the teams would be tempted to play from deep today, because there's not really anything at stake, and you can see Boroughmuir Bears expecting the kick. They had about 4 men in the back field, and there was an opportunity. If Heriots were so minded, they could have played in their own 22 there.
Taken down again by the Bears. McGinley.
Ripped in the
And
tackle,
that's been spilled. And now here comes a counter-attack from Heriots. Bruce Houston gets the ball across. Hutchison gets it from Savala. Sanford taken down. Oh, it's down the side, Murdo McAndrew. Here's a chance for Brown to come across. Tristan Andrews getting back superbly well. Savala in its scrum half temporarily. Flicked it off onto Keith Melbourne, wearing 6. Now here's a chance. Linus comes back on the inside. I thought they had numbers, Bruce. They decided not to. It's picked up and driven forward by McLaren. McAndrew, Houston, there's the missed pass, the drop. Did that come to the side or front? Referee says knock on. That was a terrific snipe down the side by the scrum half, Murdo McAndrew.
It was fantastic, yes. I think Boroughmuir Bears didn't expect anybody. It was only 2 or 3 metres to play with, didn't bother putting anybody there. But it was created by the 2 Edinburgh centres we mentioned. Just very simple. But the one, I think, was the turnover. And a lot of teams would be tempted just to shovel it out to their winger, but both Savala and Hutchison took the ball forward and held the defence, and then gave the ball out to Pecure with a bit of space, and then from that breakdown, the Boroughmuir Bears defence all at sea, and Murdo McAndrew, as you say, a fantastic snipe, but the play breaking down in the 22. That's the best bit of play we've seen so far today, though.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
The front rows collapse. So the referee will ask them to do it all over again.
Come here.
You can see Chris Keane with the #1 jersey on for Heriots is trying to put a lot of pressure on there. He's up against Martin McGinley. He's working hard but not getting anything out of him just yet. I mentioned that I think him going off injured against the Ayrshire Bulls is probably key in that game, because the Heriots scrum was dominant. And for me, there was very little about that, the front row. For me, it was Chris Keane that was the man that was applying all the pressure, so we'll keep an eye on him.
Our referee Ian Kenny just indicating that he will not be told how to referee the game.
Bind!
Rugby offer a fixture. 16 forwards, 14 backs and 31 referees. So I'll take it by Tristan Andrews. He's a hard player to stop. Boroughmuir get the support. Head down by Blythe Lafferty. Josh King in at the back. See the 2 lock forwards as well. And a good tandem, Stewart and Fisher. Outside the 22, so here comes the box kick. Same with swirling wind. It's a tricky one. It was well taken. Houston gets things moving. Savala. Hutchison is no winger outside him. Manages to get his way around Adam Scott.
That's fine.
Still Hutchison going away from Scott. McAndrew guddled it forwards, and Boroughmuir smuggled it. So with Martin McGinley. There was nobody at home if they could have got the kick in.
Advantage over and touched.
Sanford takes it well. Away from Harry Mercer. Good contest. 5 for Heriots is Fraser Hasty. Fullback coming into the line, it's Ross Jones, but he misplayed the pass. Lee Wilson having to do some mopping up.
You're not trying to lift the ball.
Linus drops the shoulder, goes down the 31-year-old.
Stay on you.
There's McAndrew, and there is the wind in motion. That virtually went backwards. Referee just explaining that. It's Boroughmuir again. cede possession too easily. It's going to be picked up by Houston. Tries a little offload. Savala back inside, looks slightly forward, and the referee saw it as well. Was right in line with us, Bruce. It was close, but it did look forward.
I agree. I think it was just forward. He maybe tried to be too cute with the pass flicking out the back door. The simpler pass might have worked better for him, but both Edinburgh centres really coming into the game now. Cammy Hutchison in particular. You see the replay here. We're maybe not going to get to see it, but it, as you say, it was right in front of it. Was in front of us. It was forward.
Yeah, that was certainly the problem. The pass was forward. Bruce Houston, he's such a great 10. I mean, he played 15 last week, but he can just orchestrate left, right, and he's got a good wee twisted pace as well.
He's unflappable. He never panics. He assesses his options well. A very good 10. I'm glad he's moved forward again there. It's interesting when Heriots get the ball. Boroughmuir, their defence is not going forward. They're giving Heriots a lot of time and space to play.
Swan to Mercer. Inside it comes through the hands of Ronan Kerr at 13. Out wide, Joe Jenkins finally getting a touch out on that far side. And again, robbed by Heriots. The referee decided the tackling the man without the ball properly and then letting go. Penalties awarded.
That's just one of those timing issues that the player making the tackle was it Hutchison, I think, went in. He had the hold of the ball, and the Boroughmuir Bears player got his knees to the ground, so it's all happening in an instant. The referee shouts tackle mate just as Hutchison rips the ball, and so you would say watching the replay that's probably hard on Heriots, but a correct decision by the referee, and it does give Boroughmuir Bears a really good attacking opportunity again here.
So you don't balls away. No one wants me to blow for penalty. I saw it.
That's a good kick from Harry Mercer.
Penalty if the ball's away. Yeah?
So 12 minutes played. That's the first penalty in the game. Now here's a chance. Referee is going to say that was knocked on, and it was. And Heriots will get the scrum. It was a nice idea, Bruce, to come in off the line out. It was knocked down, and it came in together. And the little snipe off the side, which was Scott McGinley, just stumbled at the end.
It very nearly worked for them. The Heriots pack just expecting the drive, and they all committed, and there was nobody there in defence. And if McGinley hadn't slipped, even if he'd retained possession there and set up another phase, it may well have worked for them. That's 2 or 3 unforced handling errors we've seen from both sides, and really the conditions all said they're windy. They shouldn't be dropping balls, I don't think.
Andrew putting pressure on, trying to find a little bit of space. That's good play by the captain, Leishman, leading the way.
Back foot, lads.
And just trying to find a couple of extra meters. Andrew, they've called for him to send it long. That's precisely what he's tried to do. There's the ball over the fence. But the pressure now, just Heriots under a little bit more pressure.
They seem to be, yes. I mean, that was a great pick up at the base by Rory Leishman. Gave his time, or got his side on the front foot, went through another phase, and they're being forced back there by the Bears defence, and not a great clearing kick. And as you say, Boroughmuir Bears, just a hint of them starting to get on top. Got to make something of it though.
44 tries in the 6 meetings at this level. None so far. We await the opening score. A little over 40 minutes played. Bears have taken it down, started the ball. It's a side entry, I suspect. Referee confirming there's a penalty advantage as Boroughmuir trying to find their way on that far side. Swan, McGinley waits, the prop, the receiver. Gets a little bit of help, but he's driven backwards by this Heriots pack.
New penalty.
Waiting for it is Jack Fisher. Another penalty advantage for offside this time. So it's a free play for the Bears.
Okay, guys, you're going backwards. There's no
that's
advantage.
not going to come out of there, so the penalty will come.
We've got one just here for the offside. We've got one just here for an offside against this gentleman. We have a side entry back here.
The Bears
one up
line-out
here.
has been
Penalty
excellent.
here, guys,
Clive
yourself,
Lafferty,
offside.
mentioned 18 years
On the
old. I
tee.
think he missed one against the Southern Knights, and he's been impeccable today. So they'll feel very comfortable kicking to the
Heriots
corner
on
and
the
saying,
line
well,
again,
there you go again. He
Heriots on
scored
the
one
line.
on his first start against the Knights.
No, sorry.
I imagine he'll be the man that comes in at the back of this
Just your timing, that's all it is.
this line out here. There'll be a question in
Oh,
Heriots'
yeah,
mind now. Will they try and do the same? Will they break off? Can we commit everybody to maul defence here?
Well, it's an interesting one for Heriots as to what they decide to do. Pushing forward. Here's the opportunity again.
It's the same maul and he's
Two
joined
tries
from the
against
back.
the Southern Knights. Clive Lafferty tries to go through,
Short
just
release,
held up
tackle.
short. Look to go
On the
again.
line.
Round the corner. And the try is given. Well, it was just a question of pressure, and even more pressure. And they just had too many round the ball. And Boroughmuir find themselves ahead by 5 points to nil.
It's a really tough one. It's
It was a
probably
good
tight
take
one.
initially. And then the ball was played to the back. Heriots did not a lot wrong. They got the
we'll do
players
after the
round,
kick.
Bruce.
Howard, we can do it. Well, we're prepping for the kick.
They did, and Blythe Lafferty, I think he got a bit too excited there. He went just,
Oh, just here.
you know, the ball was still moving forward. He could have just waited and essentially fallen over the line, but he went too early. We'll get another look here at who the try scorer was.
Yeah, it's Ewan Fisher. Ewan Stewart is number 4.
Thank you.
Both lock forwards are tall with black scrum caps, so we didn't want to tell you it was
Thanks,
the
Walter.
wrong one. Looked like Ewan Stewart, and it was. Now the kick
have to
can't
be
be
quick
taken
now,
at the
lads, yeah.
moment because it's too windy and it's been blown off the
Got about
tee.
15 seconds.
So the scrum half is usually the sacrificial lamb who has to put his finger out. Been in that situation a few times, it's never nice. Here comes the kick, it's driven and it's wide. But the first try of the match goes the way of the Bears.
It might have been harsh on you.
Yeah, you'd called it. You'd said that you were just a
It might have
sense
been harsh
that
that
things
then
were
against you, but
moving
I'm sorry.
that way because Heriots had very much had the upper hand up to that stage. They showed a bit more in attack.
Yeah.
Boroughmuir had wasted a couple of opportunities just by poor handling, but once they got themselves down into that 22, the line out, as I say, looks secure. Their driving maul from the line out looks excellent as well, and a good attacking weapon for them.
Mercer allows that to bounce. Taken well. That's a good confident kick by the scrum half. He's played well, Rory Swan. That's what you want. You want somebody just to take onus and think that's mine, and right up to the halfway line.
As we said about Murdo McAndrew right at the start, no messing about, just send it down the touchline. And I'm guessing from what we've seen, the wind is just straight across because both sides are clearing well.
That throw didn't look straight, but Savala and Hutchison now interchange on the halfway line, taken down by Ronan Kerr. Ian Wilson tries to get the offload. He was well held though by Adam Scott. 14 for the Bears. McAndrew inside. Keane. He's a fair old slab. Takes a bit to stop him. Inside onto Houston. That passes forward again. It's just not working the way of Heriots. If you're wondering why Bruce Houston is wearing 26 rather than the traditional 10, the 10 jersey last weekend got obliterated.
Time off.
And rather than get a new one because it's the last game of the season, he wears
Time
26.
off, guys.
You see the Boroughmuir Bears defence not coming forward there, but Houston had two forwards outside and they should be lined up that Houston can hit either of them, and I think it was Sadat got slightly in front. He
Green ball,
panicked
guys.
at the last minute and
Come
realised
back
the ball
up.
was probably meant for the man outside
Here's
him
the
and
mark. Ready,
kind of
guys?
tried to get his hands out the way and just knocked it on. So that was just a bit of misalignment, if that's the right term, between those two forwards in the midfield. You can see what Heriots are trying to do, and as I say, Boroughmuir Bears are making it far too easy for them defensively, just standing off, but not quite clicking for Heriots as yet.
Both Ronan Sadak, who wears 4, and Ross Jones, who wears 15, playing for the 25th time at this level,
Set!
which is certainly at the upper end. Swan onto Mercer. Mercer
Stay, lads, stay 7.
onto the
Okay, now
left
you're good.
boot. It's not an easy one, but it's taken well
Turn
by
it back,
Ross
stop.
Jones. That's a good kick against the wind. And all the way up and over the halfway line. That's a terrific piece of play from Ross Jones.
That's a fantastic clearing kick. The Bears again just trying to play territory,
Guys,
get
you
it
can't
down
be
into
huddling every
the
time. It's
Heriots
taking too
half.
long, so let's form a line
Obviously
out,
weren't
please.
expecting a return like that from the Heriots vice-captain.
Yeah, you're on the line, thanks.
I'm liking Ian Kennedy basically saying to the Bears, you can't huddle all the time, get on with it. So again, it's another good throw as well, taken to the back.
That's still the same ball.
Smuggled onto Blythe Lafferty. Lays it out to Swan, almost charged down. And just goes beyond Joe Jenkins. And straight out, and that's a mistake by the Bears.
It is a mistake. That's very hard to judge.
Boroughmuir on
So
the line,
again, you've
please.
probably got to give yourself another
line, guys.
5 metres. As I always say, I feel guilty passing any comment on kickers because I can't do it myself. But yeah, he should have brought that in field. That's one where Blythe Lafferty could have broken off actually, because there was a bit of a space from the maul, but obviously decided that it should be kicked.
Leishman off the top. This comes through to Fraser Hastie. There's a mistake in the midfield, but Hastie got it back
offside, penalty
through the hands of Linus
Never
Houston.
back on.
That's a lovely piece of play. Godsmark was involved. Penalty advantage coming.
Come back,
Penalty
no
will
advantage,
come.
penalty here.
Annie
Number
Mercer
10.
was in an offside position.
Never onside.
Yeah, just a little bit of a disconnect again in that Bears defence. Whether that's Mercer wants them to go forward more quickly, we'll see.
Here we go, penalty
just,
here, guys,
just
number
off
10,
the shot there.
offside.
Actually, you probably couldn't
Number
tell
10.
on the replay, but nobody else going with him, so he was offside.
So Bruce Houston wearing, as I mentioned, that coveted number 26 jersey. It's terrific kick into the corner.
That's a fantastic kick, and
Here you go, mate.
you see the.
You could see Mercer was up too
He
much.
was, yes, but this is a great position here. We've commented on the Bears line out and their driving maul. I suspect we'll get a chance to see Heriot's version of it here.
Right to the back it goes. You can see the two lock forwards getting into good position. And the referee will say that there was crossing.
No, it's he.
Yep, crossed across, broken away, and the penalty will come. I thought they set up pretty well with Sadak and Hastie, but the referee, from his angle, felt that it had broken away.
Yeah, you were miles away and then you went back on them. If you'd just broken away and played, you would have been all right, but you can't run back into them and rejoin them all. Yeah, on the line, please, thanks.
Well, it's all about opinions.
We're unsure about that one, let's just say, yeah.
We'll give the referee the benefit of the doubt because we're genuinely nice people.
And he knows more about it than Swan. I was going to say us, me. I'll not bring you into this ball.
Same ball, no, he's good, he's through the middle.
We're still going. And now he's gone. Again, Blythe Lafferty doing so well up to the halfway line. That's picked up by the try scorer, Ewan Stewart. Ewan Stewart, 3 tries now in 18 appearances for the Bears. And they're not giving that up, and by not releasing, the penalty will come. That's
Scott, let the
excellent
ball
work
come,
from
Let
Heriots.
the ball come.
They got Scott McGinley isolated, and he wasn't going to release it, and the penalty comes.
Number 7, holding
Great
it.
work there by Ewan McLaren.
just where you were.
Tight head prop. You just get another look at it there, very strong, because you see the Bears player coming in hard, going off his feet, so didn't actually get a chance to move him. Good work by the big tight head prop, and again, well, not quite such a good kick, not as close to the try line. In fact, it's not even made
First would have been
the
the 7
22.
disconnecting anyway, okay.
I was going to say we'll get another look at this Heriots driving line
they're on
out,
their
but
mark.
perhaps not. The backs, I think, will want this one.
Well, they've certainly got all the talent in the world. You mentioned it, 2 Scotland Sevens wingers, 2 Edinburgh centres. They should be desperate to feed that particular bear.
Don't change your bind, Dave.
Ian Wilson at the back. Wilson still going, getting some help there from Melbourne, and the penalty advantage, the side entry. And now there's the ball straight into the hands of Jerry Blythe Lafferty, and the penalty will come.
They had the penalty advantage. I can see, I think that's now Godsmark kind of throwing his hands in the air way over on that right wing, thinking, we've got a free ball, why not, let's just have a go at this. They had 2 or 3 options that they could have taken. The Boroughmuir Bears defence had got a bit tight over there, so there was an opportunity, but we now got a kick to the corner, and we saw the power of the driving line out there. All the Super 6 teams have a very good line out, and it's very difficult to defend. It has been for years.
Need to get the throw right. That's Linus. Does get the throw right.
Don't lift the leg, 8.
The ball looking to come to the back. It's Wilson trying to go through and gets down. Ian Wilson in beautiful position, and there was no stopping Heriots on that occasion, and it's tied up at 5 apiece.
They set that one up nicely. Great throw again. And the man at the back, Ian Wilson, it's often the hooker, but you can see the hooker coming in here, just going past Wilson there. He's so experienced, he's been in that situation many, many times over the years. He's already scored a couple from there. I think it was up at Stirling County, scored from the back of the driving line out. We just saw Blythe Lafferty at the other end, just getting his timing a little bit wrong as he broke away just a half yard too early. Wilson was patient, he waited, and plunges over the line for Heriot's score.
Well, again, due to the wind, a little bit of help needed. And it's the fullback rather than the scrum half. Bruce Houston is to give Heriots the lead. Conditions really tricky, the trees behind, bending over. Oh, and it does go through. It started off looking absolutely beautiful from our angle, and you could see it drift away to the right stick, but he got it through.
It stayed straight for long enough, as you say. It was always going to go the way the trees are blowing at the battle. I think that tree just has grown that way because it's constantly getting battered by the wind, but very well judged by Houston. At least when you're man with a finger on the ball, at the very worst you're going to get your finger kicked. In the club game you get kicked in the head or all sorts of things. They're generally a bit better at the Super 6 level.
Good game in the conditions. The old rivals, Heriots and Boroughmuir, 3 apiece in terms of Super 6 victories against each other.
News 8. News 9.
Tristan Andrews waits for it. Good take onto Tom Brown. Brown.
Down advance, guys.
Long spiralling kick. It was an awkward one for Ian Wilson. Wilson throws the dummy on Tom Brown. Back onto Ross Jones. And out of play it goes. Ian Wilson will be living off that one for a little while.
Very composed play there by the try scorer, the open side flanker. You'd see Tom Brown would be excited because you think that's the flanker. He'll panic. He'll try and kick this. It'll come off the side of his foot, and he just charged at him, and Wilson just sidestepped him beautifully through the ball infield, and a decent clearing kick up the far side.
And it's been won at the back by McLaren.
Down advance, guys. Stop.
The way to now Godsmark.
50-22's on, guys.
Joe Jenkins. Well, it was potentially a 50-22 because he went from inside his own half, but he couldn't land it inside the 22, and instead, from what would have been a terrific attacking position, it's a tough defensive set now for Boroughmuir.
And Heriots seem comfortable. There'll be 2 or 3 panicky kicks, but it's obviously part of their game plan that they're just going to send it. They know that Boroughmuir Bears are going to kick it back. They're not running it back at them, and there will be mistakes because of the wind, and they get one there, so that pays dividends for Heriots.
Hope you're enjoying all the action from Meggetland, the FOSROC Super 6 sprint. 4th place will be confirmed for one of these two sides. The no-look pass. Savala. Linus. Houston. Coming in off the wind, it was now Godsmark. Back through the hands of Leishman. This is good from Heriots. He's still leading the charge. Sadak 2. That was a little bit slow to come back. I just wonder if Ewan Fisher, beg your pardon, Ewan Stewart was in the wrong place. Houston dragged down. McAndrew. Godsmark gets it out to Wilson. Sam Pagur wants it. Pagur takes it.
Forward, guys.
Fast was forward again as Adam Scott held up the winger They've been undone, I think, 3 times now by the forward pass.
They have, yes, and I'm not sure that we can blame the wind for that. I'm not entirely sure. But you can see Heriot's attack just starting to take shape. They're getting the 2 lines of attack set up well, and they were out the back 2 or 3 times. If anything, it's happening just slightly too far away from the Bears' defence. It's allowing them to slide off and track the ball across. But you can see what they're trying to do, and it will work. They've got guys running hard. You've got 2 options. You can hit that short runner, or you can go out the back and get the ball into the wide channels. So earlier in the game they weren't able to go through the phases because of the drops or the forward passes, but they're getting through more phases. It'd be nice to see them have kept the hold of the ball there and go another few more, because the defences will start to fall apart.
It is leading by 7 points to 5 in terms of the tournament. It's the Boroughmuir Bears who lead Heriots by 4 points. In terms of points differential, it's -6, Heriots of -2.
Point! Set!
Swan in very early, gets the ball back onto Connor Allen. Swan again, driving through June Stewart. There's the clip, kick up, Sampagur waiting for it, brings it down well, runs in to Connor Allen, who tried to rip it, couldn't do so, and now Savala. Sampagur back on the inside, Murdo McAndrew, the acceleration of the scrum half again, that looked forward, the referee didn't see it, was Jones to Hutchison. And the penalty will come, tackle made, not rolling away. And it was Mark McGinley who was penalised.
I think you're right, though. There was a forward pass in there. It was right beside the referee. He was trying to spin his way out of the way. That was a lovely offload there by Godsmark. I think we'll see it there. It's that one there. I think the referee was just unsighted. So hard on Boroughmuir, but great attack and play by Heriots. You see the danger of kicking to them. We just said that Heriots are happy to kick to the Bears because the Bears are kicking it back to them, whereas when the Bears kick to Heriots, they're having a go, they're running, and it wasn't a great kick by Rory Swan. It went in field again. McCure took it, and he knew he wanted to get the ball out wide, and a great bit of attacking play or counter-attacking from Heriots.
Here come Heriots, Michael Linus with the throw, taken in well, and they will come round the side. Boroughmuir need players there, and into touch it goes, and that was good play from the Bears, just trying to cut off, coming round the blind side.
It was, but again, you'd want to see Heriots just set that up and drive forward, not try to be too clever about it. You've only got, what, 6 metres or so to go there. I think they probably will be frustrated. The coaching team just off to our left here are having a look at it. I think they'll be a bit disappointed that they weren't able to score there.
A receiver and a hooker.
The throw, it's a difficult one. It's been well taken by Leishman. Now it comes out. Fraser Hasty on the crash. Now on to Leishman. Sadak pushing him. They're by the posts. Out it comes. Savala crashes his way through. Charlie Savala. And the Australian goes through. It's his second try for Heriots. And Heriots extend the lead.
We just said how frustrated the Heriots coaches must be from wasting the opportunity, and then the Bears coaches will be equally frustrated now as their line out stolen by Heriots. And you can see just on the replay there, Murdo McAndrew picking his pass well. He had the forwards there, but the space was just a little bit further out from the ruck. And a great line from the centre, never going to stop him from there.
So Charlie Zavala wearing 13 but playing it inside centre, traditionally 12. As Bruce Houston pops that through. And a little bit of work to do for Boroughmuir Bears. Well, home advantage has been to the fore in the FOSROC Super 6 sprint. 12 of the 20 wins have come for home teams. Well, the Heriots are classed as the home team here today, despite being on Bears territory.
I think I'm right in saying Heriots have only had one home game. Was their very first one of the season.
Yeah, that's the only time they played at Golden Acre, took care of the Southern Knights.
He's off the pitch.
Apart from that, they've been on their travels. Played Watsonians here.
Hey, let me manage it.
That was a really entertaining game, actually. They led 25 points to something, I forget what, and it was a fantastic comeback from Watsonians that denied them that day. The Lewis
There
Bird
again
show
is the overthrow. McLaren at the back, so a couple of them picked up. Houston gets things moving. Savala, Hutchison, he could get it moving. Jones went with the left foot. Sampukur goes after it. Ball's refusing to go out. Tom Brown has to drop down onto it. He needs help, and he gets it. Joe Jenkins coming across from the left wing. And the Bears look like they've secured this. Driving forward was Andrews. Again, just a little pick and go, trying to find the setup for the clearing kick. Ray Swan, the 23-year-old, tries to get it away. That's blocked, and it's stolen. And here's the opportunity now. And he's taking a chance with a kick. It's Ronan Kerr, sending Nye Godsmark all the way back. Godsmark might run into Mercer here. Well, looks like he's playing sevens. He's off. Well, there was no danger he was going to kick it from there. Cammy Hutchison. Come back on the Heriot side. McAndrew.
He's trapped, no, you're trapped, you're okay. You're okay.
McAndrew. It's over the shoulder. Tristan Andrews. There's the knock on. Now the advantage. And then Heriots drop it. And it will be against the Boroughmuir Bears. And Tristan Andrews, he was in good position to just run onto that, and he's got the power. And here is the original kick, which was charged down on the inside, and it was picked up well by Ronan Kerr.
He did well, and it could have gone horribly wrong for them if Heriots had snapped that up. And he probably made the right decision there. There was nobody around about him but Heriots player, so he opted to kick, and he got them back in the 22. As we said earlier, Heriots are happy to run from anywhere. It was Niall Godsmark. You could see he got absolutely clattered by Callum Smith, but bounced him off and kept going, trying to play from there. The upshot is that we've got a scrum just on the Heriot side of halfway.
In by McAndrew. Just about 2.5 minutes to half time. Houston on the inside. Savala on the crash ball. Good clear out by Ian Wilson. And again, Hutchison. They've got advantage. Jones. Again, not a great try. Looked a little bit forward. Pass, I beg your pardon. Not a good one. Jones held down. McAndrew. Inside. No way through for Sadak. McAndrew, again, Heriot's heavy on this side. Looks one way, then the other. And then was introduced to the turf. The turnover was good. Leading the charge, Scott McGinley, still pumping the legs. Swan. Fisher. And now here's a chance, if he can get moving, is Josh King. Swan, the ball was out, and Ian Wilson gobbled him up. Back inside onto Tom Brown. Callum Smith forced backwards.
Use 9.
The level of hit is just being turned up before half time.
Yeah.
Boroughmuir just protecting and no more there.
Yeah, you could have taken that, yeah.
Jack Fisher on to Ewan Stewart. Ball pops out again, went backwards.
Use 9.
Swan. Tries a little kick into the midfield again. It was a difficult one. It was well taken into Ross Jones. It comes. Charlie Savala almost took his life in his hands with that one, but got it away beautifully. Jones, Sam Pacur up against Scott, tries to get the offload. Inside onto Savala, laid it back. Something didn't look quite right about that, but the referee, I'm fairly certain, wasn't sure, because the ball just seemed to sneak out of the ruck and almost just become available.
15 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't think there was anything wrong with it from either side. Everybody just sort of waited, but I think it was they just run out of support on the Heriot side, and it looked like it was going to come back on the Bears side. There's so many, I don't know how long those phases of play went on for there. There's so many things to talk about both sides in possession. The Bears got a hold of the ball over this side a minute or two ago, and the speed with which they got it to the far side was impressive. Just pulled it out the back door from the forwards through the hands, and they're both sides here to play rugby.
Time is up, guys.
Time short is up. That time into Josh King. Tristan Andrews runs into Ian Wilson. Time is up. Well, Boroughmuir literally deciding enough was enough. They thumped the ball off the roof of the stand, and they wanted the half-time interval to come. Larry Swan decided that there was to be no more time to be played as the teams head for the changing rooms. It's been a really interesting first half. Heriots Rugby leading the Boroughmuir Bears by 14 points to 5. Let's have a little look back at some of the highlights from that first half. Well, there's been plenty of action here at Meggetland this afternoon. Ewan Stewart got the Boroughmuir Bears onto the board. It was a good take by Jack Fisher initially, Bruce, but it was the work that they had to do. You know, Blythe Lafferty came round, got repelled, but in the end, Ewan Stewart was strong enough to get the try.
Yes, it wasn't exactly as they had planned. I think they would have hoped to just rumble over and Blythe Lafferty score, but they managed to score the very next phase.
So that put Boroughmuir Bears ahead. The conversion attempt wasn't successful on that occasion, and so the Boroughmuir Bears struck first in a match that had 10 tries when these two sides came head to head last time. Heriots though replied, and Ian Wilson was to score. And Ian Wilson, well, he's such a reliable player. Ian Wilson, you know, wears 7 for Heriots, and it was no surprise that after the good work they managed to get round the corner and score.
It was a bit of a carbon copy from that one in the opposite, the diagonal corner, but Ian Wilson was a bit more patient than Blythe Lafferty and just bided his time, waited to the right moment to dive over the line and get Heriots on the scoreboard.
And in no easy kicking conditions either, Bruce Houston. Well, it wobbled slightly, but he got it through in the end, and that was key. There was to be another try to come for Heriots. It came from Charlie Savala, and it was almost relentless pressure, but just before the actual score, you know, the turnover and the line out, and that was a big selling point for Heriots getting into position.
Yes, Heriots, having just scored on the other side of the pitch from a similar position, would have felt that it was another opportunity to do the same, win the ball from the line out, drive over. They lost the line out, and then Boroughmuir Bears essentially threw it to them, and we spoke about Jerry Blythe Lafferty, how secure he's been at the line out in his last game on this, but that was his one mistake stolen by Heriots, and the forwards went through a couple of phases. They were set up, and it looked, I think, to the Bears' defence like they were going to carry again, but McAndrew saw that the space was just that little bit wider. Fantastic line by Charlie Savala to crash over for the second Heriots score.
And the conversion by Bruce Houston was successful, and that's why at half-time between these two old Edinburgh rivals, it is Heriots leading the Boroughmuir Bears by 14 points to 5 here at Meggetland. Stay with us, full coverage of the second half still to come from here. But it really has been an entertaining FOSROC Super 6 sprint series. Lots of great tries scored over the last 9 weeks, and here is a reminder of some of them. Schmidt gets himself away from Foss, gets it on the inside. Gelderblom, oh, it's a brilliant step away from Tom Brown and Jed Gelderblom. That's his first try for Heriots and a moment of magic to send Tom Brown the wrong way.
Russell on the loop, and through he goes. Oh, wonderful running. He's off and running. He'll make it all the way. And that's what he's all about, Chris. What a beautifully balanced runner, and he saw the opportunity and he just went up the line. Simple as that. He made it look effortless.
Brace out the back to Chamberlain. And this is Duncan Hood. Brilliant swerve from the hooker. Off goes Duncan Hood. This is sensational. Outrageous. Duncan Hood, like a runaway warthog, comes searing off the bench and bamboozles the Bears. What a score.
Out it goes to the left again. There, gap in front of Jordan there, looking for support, and he's found it. Is Aaron Tate come off his wing there, looking for work, and he's gone over for another score for the Ayrshire Bulls. Tom Jordan with the initial burst, and then Tate in support, so that's both wingers scored for the Ayrshire Bulls. And they extend their lead out now, 15 points to 7.
This could be an intercept, and then away, and it will be a try. This could secure a bonus point. Robbie McCallum is trying to go into the corner. Glendinning is with him.
Hands up, guys.
And that is a terrific piece of skill from Robbie McCallum. It is a third Boroughmuir try.
Charging through. Oh, that's well marked. That is well marked by Sterling. And that's the hook at Hiddleston. That's a smart move. That's the first one you would see, the first well executed line out they've really done.
Please, can I get a time check, please?
They stayed on the ground there, didn't they?
And here they come. Oh, this is a great break. This is a great break from Ayrshire Bulls. In, out, sideways. What a fantastic score. What a superb score from Ayrshire Bulls. Finn Callaghan possibly playing his last match for the side as well, and they have
To Berg. Berg has just thrown it straight into the hands of Billy Warrer, and he's got open prairie to run into now. He's going to go underneath the sticks and get the ball down, and that is an absolute gift from Watsonians.
Berg looked up there and you could see straight away from the minute it left his hands he'd seen, and a good interception, good read defensively, and he's going to put
into the Watsonians 22. Watsonians from banging away on the door. The Heriots line now have got to go at the length, and they may well do it through Lewis Berg. Thought of a pass there, offloads it to his winger Angus Guthrie. He's got the other winger Roman McPherson with him, and McPherson will go in the corner. It's end-to-end stuff here at Meggetland.
Back it will go once more. They're working it through the hands with some intelligence there. Decent offload as well from Maguire as he was going to deck. Wrestling away was Tom Jordan. Jordan still has it. Jordan going for the line, and that's a wonderful try there from Jordan. I think he's managed to get a clean grounding of the ball because it did shoot away from him as he was going down.
Right, it'll come now from Frostwick. Baggett, and little ball behind, and then inside pass. It's a clever inside pass there from Joe Reynolds. Finds Loman McPherson coming in off the right wing. Right, it comes picked up well off his feet by Cammy Hutchison, and they go wide down that left side. Jack Mann, nice little offload there, and away go Heriots, and it's a great charge there over the line there. It's the replacement, James Cooper. I just mentioned that he'd scored in the fixture here last year.
And now Watsonians look to strike. Lee Miller floats the ball over to Patterson, coming at a rate of knots. Can he outstretch the Ayrshire Bulls defence? Gets the big fend in and gets the try from Watsonians. Managed to get in behind the defensive line after some good broken play running from Matt Curry, and then the awareness of Lee Miller just to float that ball.
Knock-on advantage over. Footwork from McCallum. He's split the Knights open. Wonderful running, and that is a stunning try. Robbie McCallum cleaves the Southern Knights asunder. Chamberlain, Slater running onto it at Pace's cross, and he will breeze through a massive gap in the Bears' defence. Cross could go all the way here. Wonderful balance running from Aidan Cross.
The full-back coming up just now with Aaron Tate. Tate trying to get his way through. He's still going. He's going for the corner. That's a terrific try by Aaron Tate, and all the way back. And that's the third try of the match for the Ayrshire Bulls.
What an excellent counter-attack try, isn't it?
What a terrific set of tries there. And really the FOSROC Super 6, the Championship and the Sprint Series has provided plenty of great action here at Meggetland. Heriots Rugby, the designated home side, leading the Boroughmuir Bears by 14 points to 5. 9 of the 20 sprint games have been decided by 7 points or less. 7 have been decided by 3 points or less, so we are hopeful that this one will go down to the wire. I'm watching in the company of Bruce Millar, and Bruce, we've seen throughout the whole season some terrific rugby. The emphasis has been on player development and attack. Actually go for it, take your chances. We've seen it today, you know, the little passes out the side of the hand, a couple have gone forward, but you've seen the attacking intent right throughout.
That's right, yes, and it has to be about player development, as you say. I commentated on, I forget which, it was Ayrshire Bulls against somebody, and I had Kenny Murray with me, who of course involved with it, leading the under-20s programme, and that was the big plus for him, he said, this year, the fact that the coaches are willing to throw in the young lads, and it's not just under-20s, there's some under-18s as well that we're seeing, and they're stepping up to the plate, because that is a big part of its purpose. Yes, we want to see, you know, we talk about the product and such like, but it does have a purpose in developing these players. But at the same time, as you say, the attack in rugby has been absolutely superb. I think all the teams have just set out and said we're going to have a go this year, and especially with games like this where there's no pressure on anybody, you can just play rugby. You can see Heriots in particular have bought into that in the first half and running it from just about anywhere.
We're just 2 tries short of 150 for the sprint series, so in 20 and a half games now we've had 148, and there's just been some lovely moves. You can see Heriots, the wingers, desperate to get involved here. Perhaps not seen so much of that from the Boroughmuir side today. Not seen much of Joe Jenkins, for example. We know he can play.
No, we spoke to Graham Shield before the game, and I think he said he only had 19 of his main squad available, so he's had to pull in players from the club side and elsewhere, and you can see that they've maybe just not quite got the cohesion that we've seen from them in previous weeks, whereas that Heriots lineup, there's quality players everywhere. The centres are really just doing the basics well. The Edinburgh centres just carry forward, hold the defence, and then distribute well, but the wingers likewise, Ross Jones, all quality players, and Bruce Houston, the man with the ball in his hands just now, just pulling the strings beautifully.
Now we had a word at half-time with Stuart Edwards, the assistant coach at Heriots. He is also the director of rugby at Stuart's Melville School. Thankfully he didn't want to discuss my refereeing performance, Stuart's Melville against Glasgow, which was quite a relief. As Heriots get us underway the second half, the final 45 minutes or so, the time 40 plus in this Sprint Super 6. Michael Lennis drops the shoulder and goes. Repelled well by Fisher. Houston, Savala wraps it round to Bruce Houston. It's terrific play. Now he goes for the little kick through, where he's Swan having to go back. It's a kind bounce for him. The Bruce Houston takes him down. Well, he saw a little bit of daylight and then tried to step past the Heriots 10. The Swan is okay. That's been turned over. Bruce Houston gets it out. Savala round the corner onto Ian Wilson, and Ian Wilson scores. That is ruthless rugby from Heriots.
You can hear the Heriots coaches just off their left screaming transition. They've obviously got a pattern that they will go through with turnover ball. And the space was out to the left, they saw it was there. Nice little bit of a wrap-around play, Ian Wilson involved there just to help get the ball wide. Ruthless, as you say, and in the build-up to that as well. Once again, from the launch, the two centres, well, I say combining, they didn't actually combine. I think Savala run the line off Cammy Hutchison, the defence bought it, and he pulled the ball out the back door. They worked their way upfield. Boroughmuir Bears got a hold of the ball, but it was turned over. A huge hit in there by Bruce Houston on Rory Swan as well. You don't often see that from a 10. I suppose you only see it when it's against another half-back, where they take their chances. But yes, it was good play by Heriots. Very clinical when they got the chance.
Well, you can see the flag that's on the 22-metre line doing a little jig of its own accord, and it's going to make the kick exceptionally difficult. Bruce Houston It's a terrific kick, absolutely terrific kick, all the way around in these conditions. Really difficult swirling wind, and that is a great effort from the Heriots standoff.
He really is a fantastic kicker, being put to the test today, and he's shown up very well.
Backwards.
Again, taken well, and it's a good clearing kick. And Heriots certainly pleased with what they're seeing. It has been a mixed season for Heriots. Overall, 17 games at this level. They've lost 11, they've won just 6, and you wonder with the squad why it is only 6 wins. Between the championship and the sprint. It's well taken by Josh King. Swan. Mercer, Andrews, dragged down by Melbourne. Swan through Mercer. Here comes the support. Couldn't get it out to Jenkins. It's laid back by Kerr.
Tackle.
Manages to get the knees to the ground, so the tackle is called. Mercer, that's an awkward one, but Josh King gets on the end of it. Takes it really well into contact against Sampo Kerr. Mercer, oh, it's almost dropped. Swan. Mercer. Trying to find a way through that time, Rowan Kerr. And now here comes the kick from Swan. Ross Jones tries to get away from Blythe Lafferty. That's out the side of the hands. Ball has gone backwards. Martin McAndrew. Now Godsmark. That's a good tackle by Joe Jenkins. McAndrew. Through onto Ewan McLaren. McAndrew again. Back onto Houston. That's a terrific kick. It's a really difficult one for Adam Scott to try and get. In fact, just evades over the line. And he's going to hold on for a moment.
Stay, lad, stay.
Not sure about that.
You're on there.
That's adventurous. Not sure Graham Shield will be too happy with it. Ross Jones goes in. Heriot's ball. Leading as they do by 21 points to 5. Houston. Hutchison, Zavala on the outside. Gets away from Ewan Stewart.
Ball's available. Don't push it in. Come on. Steele's good. Steele's good. He's
I think Boroughmuir might have jackled this. They have.
Nah, you're holding on there.
And then the penalty comes. Well, the steal was fine, but it was the second movement round, and Blythe Lafferty, I think, was protecting the ball, and the penalty will come away, Heriots.
Yeah, the referee indicating just holding on there. The right, it was stolen. See the hands go in there. It was okay, and then Chris Keane has come in and made a tackle, and then he's holding on, so he's been okay up to that point. So many talking points, not quite sure where to start before that. I mean, Heriots had the ball in their half, and as I mentioned in the first half, it's funny how you get in that mindset. Boroughmuir are happy to kick, so they assume that the opposition are happy to kick. So again, 4 men in the backfield. Heriots realise that, and they get the ball out to the stand side wing and have a go up here, and then wait till 2 or 3 phases later when the Boroughmuir Bears backfield defence is not quite so well organised, and then they opt to kick, and they find themselves again in the 22 with this line out.
Michael Linus, taken well by Keith Melbourne, round the back. Ian Wilson has it at the back. Ian Wilson looking for a hat-trick here. They're still going. Jerseys are being tugged. He's still there, and over he goes. Well, it's terrific control from Heriots, and it's a hat-trick of tries for Ian Wilson.
You can't underestimate the importance of having somebody experienced at the back of that maul there. I can hear Finn Gillis, one of the Heriots rugby assistant coaches, up to the left saying patience, 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 and that's all it is. They know that it's moving forward, it's set up well. The Boroughmuir Bears defence all at sea there, and Wilson just looking up, assessing the options in front of him, but you can panic there in that situation and just go too early. We saw Blythe Lafferty do it earlier, but once again, for a second time in this game, Ian Wilson has judged it perfectly.
So the try bonus is secure, so at the moment it's looking like a 5-point victory for Heriots unless Boroughmuir can find a way.
Don't tell me that, I'll put you off.
And that would be enough to take Heriots beyond the Boroughmuir Bears and the FOSROC Super 6 table. Conversion attempt is good again. Well, Ian Wilson does it with the tries. Bruce Houston does it with the conversions. And it's 28 points to 5.
It seems hardly worth commenting on the kick now, you just expect them to go over.
The conversion there from Heriots, number 26. Bruce Houston takes the score to Heriots, 28, Boroughmuir Bears 5. Substitutions for Heriots. Coming off, number 3, Hugh McLaren, who was replaced by number 17, Dan Gamble, and number 4,
Hughes 9.
Number 23.
So you may have heard the public address announcer in the background confirming the changes. Dan Gamble, Callum Anderson are the players on. Hugh McLaren, Fraser Hasty have been withdrawn. Here's McGinley. McGinley with the offload. No way through for Connor Allen. Here comes Ewan Stewart. Seems a long time ago since he handed the lead to the Bears. Again, no way through for Tom Brown. Swan looked at the gap. Well dealt with by Callum Anderson. And then driving through is Keith Melbourne. The steal is terrific. Here's Hutchison. Hutchison. Well, they're struggling to get him down.
Let him go, 11.
McAndrew. That's just pulled him back behind Bruce Houston. Houston gets it away. It's a terrific take from Chris Keane. That'll come back to Ross Jones. Tries a little kick over. And it takes a good bounce. And out of play it goes. Heriots have started the second half tremendously well.
Yes, that was a well judged kick. That came from turnover though, and it was interesting. We spoke about the lack of line speed from the Bears defence. Heriots have been much better, but you go to get those midfield breakdowns, you can't go forward quite the same. You don't often get your numbering quite right. But that's where Cammy Hutchison is brilliant. He had 2 Boroughmuir Bears players outside him, but he didn't panic. He just pushed up hard and he essentially forced Rory Swan to go himself when he might have liked to have passed it further out, and it was from that little snipe that the turnover came. So it's interesting how the defence further out influences what happens further in there, but Boroughmuir Bears have come up with it.
Yeah, Josh King got the steal at the front. Heriots half a dozen tries when they played against Boroughmuir last time. 38-22 win. As Tom Brown comes in, he's held up by Charlie Savala. Good drive over coming from Hutchison. Just seemed to be under a lot of pressure. The Bears. Jenkins tries to release. King with a carry again. The wind blustering even more. There's Ronan Kerr going through.
Onside.
Now there's the kick from Swan. Jones waits for it, takes it on the full. Out wide. Sam Picure dragged into touch.
Heriots.
Just not working for the Bears at the moment.
It's not, and I think that's another
Time number 3.
ill-judged kick there by Swan. It just felt like he'd run out of options and kicked it, and they should know by now that that Heriots are going to be dangerous when you kick to them, and they look good at times. Again, I find it interesting listening to the coaches off to the left. The Heriots coaches are shouting at their players to fold from the breakdown up on the 22, and they didn't get any width in their defence, and it's good. The Bears, they recognise where the space is, they got it there, and there was a hint of a chance down that right hand side, but a couple of phases later they just kick it away.
Marcus Goodwin is off the bench for the 4th time, and he replaces McGinley. Mark McGinley. That's a good pick up and take by Callum Smith over the halfway line. Swan into Mercer. It opened up for Mercer. Got past Houston. It's a man on the wrong side, but the ball has come. Kerr, little jink one way then the other. And he's been held up. He got his knees to ground though. Here comes Mercer again. Mercer, that's a beautiful dummy, gets the spin pass out to Brown. Brown dropped the ball. I think that went forward and the referee does catch up. That was a knock-on.
Okay. Gentleman arrived and knocked it on. The time on.
Again, it was another good steal, and the way they play. Yeah. This is Boroughmuir losing the shirt.
Scrum's outside, yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't think 7.
We talk a lot about the rugby, we talk a lot about all of these things, but sometimes these shirts can get a real hammering.
I don't think
already spoken about why Bruce Houston is wearing the 26 jersey today. That's going to be another one. Well, is it the same one he's put on? It just was pulled off. It wasn't torn. Whoever pays for the strips will be quite happy with that. I don't think they will come cheaply, but that's better play again, just more direct by the Bears. Was it McGinley, I think, with the carry, made good ground to prop up the centre of the field, and maybe Boroughmuir Bears would profit from playing a slightly more unstructured game. They got the support there, they just weren't able to take the pass. But once again, the defence from Cammy Hutchison in particular, pushing up hard, and it forces the Bears defence to make decisions they don't want to. It was Harry Mercer on that occasion had to break, but as you said in commentary, it nearly opened up for him.
Just take your time, get yourself ready.
It is impressive by those that Edinburgh centre pairing for Heriots.
Well, Aubrey and Kubi is a good player, but not good enough to replace both lock forwards. The referee telling Jack Fisher his day was done, and then realising he got it wrong, so Ewan Stewart then left the field of play, and Jack Fisher is back on.
Set! 18 collapsing.
Now the penalty will go against Boroughmuir, and it's Marcus Goodwin who collapsed, and Heriots are away. Conditions getting trickier here at Meggetland.
You're fine there, you're fine.
They will still try and throw the ball around though. That's a long one up to Linus. He's going to be met and held up by Fisher.
Don't advance through.
And Hutchison.
7, 8, stay.
And it's a long one. It's a terrific kick. They've just kicked better this afternoon, Heriots. They've been the better kicking side.
They've been far better in all aspects, to be perfectly honest. There, and it was well judged by Cammy Hutchison. I've been very impressed by him this afternoon. He should stand out at this level with his Edinburgh experience. But he just looked up, he saw where the space was. The wind is behind him going across the other side of the pitch there. He just had to keep it in field.
Yeah, okay. Numbers, guys.
Well, a lot of carriers are on the field of play. The referee's just asked them to move back off the field of play. Oh, the wind got all over that one.
The wind, but I mean, that's just...
And the referee will basically say that was unacceptable, and we will scrum down.
Scrum.
Again, we can't quite see on our screens the trees the other side of the pitch. Just the wind seemed to get up at that moment. It's one of those horrible times for a hooker standing. It's like, when do I throw it? I've got to go at some point. And it just seemed to be caught by a gust of wind. And I suppose it gets into your head a little bit as a hooker. He'd been almost immaculate earlier today and in his last game, but as soon as you start to make one or two mistakes under a bit of pressure and the opposition line out starts putting players up and applying more and more pressure, it does play on your mind, especially for a youngster, 18 years old. It's not easy.
So the scrum down, McAndrew waits, Houston round the side, here comes Godsmark. Now it's picked up and driving on Ronan Sidak. Through the hands, Jaws, can he get through? Godsmark wears 14 yet to score for Heriots. Fisher came through, the referee decided not to penalise in Kubik. Now the ball drops back onto Dan Gamble. Heriots, plenty of players on this side. It's Savala trying to crash his way through. He's short. Lovely little bash on the inside. Chance for Linus. Melbourne stretching in, trying to get his mitts on it. McAndrew comes back down onto Ronan Sedak. And that is spilled, and it'll come back on the Bears side.
He's hooked it backwards.
And Kubik. Linus tackled him well. Scoreboard all in favour of Heriots at the moment, 28 points to 5. And Swan gets the box kick, that's going to drift back inside. Jones looks for it. Harry Mercer nearly tripped him up. I don't think he expected him to take that. He thought the ball was going to fall, so he was trying to kick it through. Now here's the line. Houston gets it out. It's the opportunity. Savala lays the ball back inside. Sampukur trying to fight for the line. He's a yard short, and the referee says it's just held up.
I haven't seen it, Ross.
It was so close, and that's what he's explaining to Heriots.
Time off.
This is good to watch, though, it has to be said, by Heriots. Good footwork there by Sampukur, got himself very close to the line. Good work before that by Charlie Savala. They combined nicely. But their whole attack looks good from the launch, going back a minute or two. From the, was it the line out or the scrum? I mean, it had Stuart Edwards written all over it. Just that sort of multi-option, multi-layer attack that's very hard to defend against. They had, I think, at least 3 options, Bruce Houston, and they got the ball out into the wide channel. They only needed to go through 1 or 2 more phases because the Boroughmuir Bears defence was getting very, very narrow, but they lost the ball, won it back a phase or 2 later, and have gone very close again. If there's any frustration from a Heriots point of view, it'll be that they haven't scored more points.
5, get on the 5. Okay.
It's the end of the afternoon for Chris Keane and for Ross Jones.
You accept that like you don't believe
the rain. That's the fault, it's a little bit heavier.
You okay, 14?
Sort of blustery on and off showers.
Okay. Time on, guys. Go line. Behind, guys, 12.
So there's the dropout from the goal line, taken by Murdo McAndrew. Inside onto Ian Wilson. Hat-trick of tries for the Heriots 7. Not captain today, that is Rory Leishman, who wears 8. And on the ball now. Back onto Hutchison. Hutchison round the corner, took his eye off it, Bobby Kay. And it bounces down. And it's Boroughmuir who will get the put in. Well, the Boroughmuir Bears this season used 37 players in the sprint, 28 of whom have started. Mercer and Brown ever present for them in terms of Heriots. Leishman, Houston, Godsmark started all 6 games.
Green 10. Alright guys, let's go.
Leishman has been good as well. He started out in the second row. He was moved into blindside flanker and he seems to have found his place at number 8, but very versatile player.
So Harry Mercer replaced. Cameron Hogg is on.
Crouch!
And Rory Swan gets ready.
Set!
Swan, a 4th start the season. The young Scot, 23 years old. Ball at the base. And it comes, nicely done by Connor Allen. Back into Swan, here's Joe Jenkins. Jenkins says it's too high on that occasion. Adam Scott can't get there. And the ball just runs out of play.
getting a nice launch from the scrum. They can do it in patches, Boroughmuir. Again, just 2 or 3 passes, getting the ball out of the wide channel, a couple of runners just to try and hold that defence, and then it's just that final pass or execution not quite there, because it would have been dangerous if they get it out into the hands of the winger there.
Well, lots of changes coming now. Zach Smith, who scored on his debut, is on, and also on is Sean Johnston. Last game of the season, you may as well give your bench players the chance, get stretch of the legs, and off comes, my God, Smart could be frustrated he didn't get on the score sheet.
Guys, we have contact in the air there, okay? Contact.
The referee will give the penalty.
Contact in the air.
Can't have contact in the air, and the referee's quite right. So Bruce Houston will kick towards the corner.
I wonder if Ian Wilson will be getting excited about a potential fourth here.
Well, he's certainly the man.
Happy for a contest, but you just can't play the man, okay? Just the
So
contact
the last
in the
7
air.
penalties in the game have gone against Boroughmuir. And the throw will come in from Michael Linus. Taken well by Callum Anderson. Ian Wilson, they're trying to take his jersey off him.
Don't swim the side.
Pretty certain that's him at the back. And Kubi tries to grab him. Referee trying to follow the ball. With a split, Rory Leishman has dropped over it. Now it comes out wide. And the attempted interception.
No. No. For me, he's going to play it.
And Adam
Guys,
Scott
this what
is
I've
the
got.
player.
Rory,
He will have
Rory,
to go back.
This is what I've got here, guys. He's gone to play the ball in an upwards direction with one hand with a realistic attempt to re-get there. It's going to be a scrum, you guys, on the tee here, okay? For a knock-on. That's the decision.
So momentarily we have lost our link with referee Ian Kenny, so I can't tell you what the explanation is on that side. He's keeping his opinion to himself this time round.
He's there. He's got a ball.
Well, Graham Shields will be hoping that his Boroughmuir Bears can just do a little something here. The last 3 meetings between these 2 teams have been won by the away side. That's Boroughmuir that are listed as the away side today.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Scrum comes together. Heriots driving well, ball at the back. It's been taken back into the scrum, trying to follow where the ball is, and there is the try. Rory Leishman at the base there. Bruce just controlled it all the way, took it across. He almost lost it as it went forward, but it was an easy dot down in the end.
Yes, when you've got a scrum as powerful as that, it's such a good attacking weapon. And it had just an inevitability about it. That one, all it was going to come down to was whether, you say, Leishman could control it at the final moment. But he did that well, retained his composure, and complimented Ian Wilson on his composure at the back of the driving line out earlier. And Leishman, in his position at number 8, kept his head there. And dots down. The only annoyance for Ian Wilson will be that he didn't score from the line out, and they had to have a scrum, and his captain is the try scorer.
It seemed like you were playing into it for the first half, but now.
So Bruce Houston looking to add on the extras. He's been perfect so far. Can he master the conditions again? That one just across the face that time. It's been a terrific kicking performance. And Heriots, this will be a little spring in their step. Obviously, you know, change of coach yesterday with Andy Kelly, and by mutual consent between Heriots and the coach, and they'll be looking to build towards the championship series.
That's right, yes. Although we're saying there's nothing at stake today, there is really, and especially for Heriots, I think it was more important for them to win. Boroughmuir will feel fairly good about their season and the way they've turned it around. I think they've come into today with a weakened squad, and I don't think they will be too upset by this, whereas if Heriots had lost again.
9-7-1 Boroughmuir. 9-7-1.
What have they got? 8 weeks, I think, now to build for the championship.
Well, the changes are just coming thick and fast.
Yeah, about that.
There's big moments here. Brandon Sweet gets himself on the field of play. Liam Habib is on as well. So too is Murray Johnston. So Liam Habib has been used off the bench a couple of times. He's almost jumped up to this level, as Graham Shield was telling us earlier. It's good game time for him.
It hasn't played a game for the club side, and just as you say, jumped straight into Super 6. And you know, just like a duck to water, most of these young guys as they come into this.
And with so much going on, we should have mentioned, of course, Cameron Hall coming on for his debut at this level. He's gone to inside centre, and he's on the ball now. Gets it across onto Ronan Kerr. Kerr driving his way forward. Heriots with likely the points and the bonus point in the bag. Just trying to find a little bit of inspiration. Here comes Brandon Sweet, the replacement prop forward. Out wide, Leith Lafferty. Waiting, Jack Fisher, but it'll come out round the back. It's a good take again, into contact. Fisher. On his shoulder is Brandon Sweet. Tristan Andrews. And he's used to get his way past Danny Denny.
Yeah, feet now 17.
Setting up left and right. Murray Johnson now in at scrum half. And Kubik. That's come out the side. And that was nicely picked up by Sean Johnston. Sean Johnston. Super 6 debut. You'll have enjoyed that. Back onto Charlie Savala. It's a difficult one for Adam Scott. It's a great kick again.
That's off the back of a fantastic defensive set by Heriots. The communication is absolutely superb, because those midfield rucks, as we said earlier, it's not easy always to get your numbering quite right. But they're screaming at each other, they're shouting, they're pushing each other left and right, and that allows them to come forward and put pressure on, because they're getting organised quickly. I seem to have mentioned him all day, Cammy Hutchison, again, right at the heart of that with his communication skills, and eventually it just forces a turnover. They kick it long and relieve the pressure.
So Charlie Savala has dropped into full-back for Heriots.
Are they making a sub for the number 8, or what's correct?
Bobby Kate, natural centre. So he's now alongside the man wearing
that number 8 getting subbed.
number 12 jersey, Cammy Hutchison, who has gone to inside centre. When you do get the clearing of the bench, as we've stopped temporarily for Tristan Andrews is down, you do start to see the positional reorganisations, all little switches and changes as well.
Can you call into Walter?
One of the things I think I've commented on, I always feel bad saying it, that when the changes come around about that kind of 60-65 minutes in these games in the Super 6 Sprint Series, the game seems to have lost its structure, and teams seem to have lost their way a little bit, which you wouldn't get at the higher level, and I've said that's something that they maybe need to work on. But today, actually, I don't think we've seen that, to be perfectly honest.
Heriots have barely missed a beat. Finjaraj, who is the replacement hooker from Loreto, is getting ready to come on, and the young man runs on, but somebody needs to tell the man throwing in, that's Blythe Lafferty. He's on, he's off, he's on, he's off, he's on again, but he's coming on for Tristan Andrews. That's the replacement. Tristan Andrews hadn't left the field of play, so I wondered if they were making a change. He nudged it to come off the field. It's a little bit of confusion.
Nah, they were. The ball got blown backwards.
Tristan Andrews didn't appear to want to come off as the ball is played from Johnston. Taken down, nicely done. Pick here on that far side. And just taken into touch.
Yeah, a bit of confusion, as you say, there as to who was coming on, who was going off. I think Boroughmuir Bears probably had 16 men at one point. Tristan Andrews clearly didn't want to go off. And Finn Girage, not quite sure what he was going on. 18 years old, still at school. I mean, there's some physical specimens. He's got. When I was that age, I think my legs were like his arms. Well, actually, my legs are still like his arms, but there's some big old lads out there.
Yeah, it's changed days and the approach to players and building of the bodies. That comes right through the back. Marcus Goodwin, the unexpected taker. Goodwin again, taken down by Sean Johnston. Fidjaraj with a carry. Cameron Hogg trying to work his way through. Boroughmuir having to dip into the club first 15, whose season has ended, to bring some of these players in off the bench today. Taken into contact was Tom Brown. Liam Habib wears 20 with a black scrum cap. Connor Allen. And there's the penalty again, just taking into contact. Being jackled and not letting go of the ball is the problem.
Heriots' defence again has been superb. We've talked about Ian Wilson a lot for his try scoring, but he put in a huge hit in defence there. And Heriots just driving Boroughmuir Bears back all the time, and they look a little bit bereft of ideas. A quick mention though for Josh King, the blindside flanker for the Bears on a losing side. He has carried very hard today.
That's another good kick into the corner.
There you go, mate.
33 unanswered points from Heriots. Lost the first score to Ewan Stewart. But they have taken full control of this game.
Steele's good. That's a tackle, guys, release.
The line out is good.
Use.
And well cleared and sent long. 10 minutes to play. The last 10 minutes of this Super 6 sprint.
On the line, guys, on the line, Green.
In the sprint series, the teams played each other once, then the top half played the bottom half over the 3 weekends. They just mixed the games. Been entertaining. As Savala into the line as fullback was held by Jenkins. Findiraj. It's a good tackle. Josh Scott was sent backwards. And Kubi just got the tackle and just a fraction late to prevent the ball being released. Here's Bruce Houston. Lots of fresh players on there with the benches being emptied and players with lots to prove. Here comes Sean Johnston wearing 19, being pushed back. Finjaraj going in there again. There's a little clip kick. It's an awkward one. Johnston turns it back inside, but he'd stepped out of play. It's a difficult one for the Bears 21. Almost taking it over his shoulder, but foot was in touch.
A well-judged kick again. The kicking has been superb from Heriots today. Bears' defence more aggressive than it's been all game. They're rushing up harder on the Heriots pod, and again they're forcing them to make mistakes. And because again they've got 2 or 3 options there. They can carry, they can tip it onto the player outside them, or they can pull it out the back door to the second line of attack, if you like, to the backs. And they're being forced to drop the ball in the process of doing that by the Boroughmuir Bears' defence.
Comes the line out just taken, and again in at the back. Wilson, as it crabs inside, you could see him head up, looking left and right. Then the ball smuggled away. Hutchison quite fancied it himself, taken down well by Hogg. McAndrew could hear the call, same way. Houston will send it long. Here's the chance. Sam Piqueur stretches over for his first try in the Super 6 for Heriots Rugby.
Sam Piqueur. Age 13, Boroughmuir Bears 5.
Terrific play, Bruce.
Again, McAndrew with a long pass out there, and then Houston, he had 2 or 3 men outside. I think it was both his centres that he had there, but he decided that the long pass out to his winger Piqueur was the better option, and he executed it absolutely perfectly. You can see it again on your screens now, just a long looping pass into the hands of Piqueur. Still had a bit of work to do, and you can see the assistant referee having a very close look there. Piqueur managed to keep his feet in the air long enough to get the ball dotted down. That's again a fantastic try, and both half-backs pivotal in it.
Yeah, there's been little doubt this afternoon that Heriots have simply been too strong for a Boroughmuir Bears side. Missing a few key figures. But Graham Shield has seen his side try everything they can. If Bruce Houston gets this, it'll just be showing off. That was a step just too far, and it was not to be.
No, we're playing.
So just over 6 minutes to play. Bruce Millar alongside me has the tough job of naming the FOSROC Super 6 Player of the Match.
All right, guys. Boroughmuir on the line. Have the line, guys. Yeah.
Bears coming on number 22, Callum Anderson, replacing number 12, Connor Allen.
So Connor Allen is withdrawn. Callum Anderson is on. And that's the bench. He's completely clear. Jamie Campbell was the last Heriots player to come on. Won that line out.
Use 9. Yeah, it's out.
They're not resting here, Heriots. They want to add more points. They want to finish with a flourish. Tom Brown. Joe Jenkins, the Welsh winger, trying to find some magic. But it's Heriots who turn it over again. Johnson out wide, can't hold on to it. And the knock-on will come against Sam Piqueur. Man of the match, I mean, I could guess, because it's hard to score 3 tries and not get man of the match, unless, Bruce, you're going to be controversial.
No, I'm not going to be controversial. However, I will mention 1 or 2 other players. I think Murdo McAndrew at 9 has been excellent today. He's kicked well, he's picked his passes well. Likewise, Bruce Houston has done the same. Cammy Hutchison has been superb both in attack. We know he's a very strong carrier, but defensively as well, he's forced the Bears' hand by defending high a lot of the time. His communication has been good, but how can you score a hat-trick and not be given man of the match? It wasn't just his tries. The last launch, in fact, was Wilson carrying very hard into contact defensively. He's put in some huge hits, so it's not just about the tries. It's been a very all-round performance by the Heriots open side flanker. My FOSROC Super 6 Player of the match is Ian Wilson.
Fine way to finish the season for Ian Wilson.
I know we're getting tired, but you've got to keep the standards, guys.
He now has 10 tries and 23 appearances at Super 6 level, and that's impressive.
Bind!
These Super 6 sprint games have averaged just over 7 tries a game. We've had 7 in this one so far. 1 for the home side, or the side playing on their home ground, and 1 for the nominated home side, which is Heriots with a half dozen. Hutchison on Scott. Heriots counter ruck is brilliantly done again by the man of the match. Lovely little play. Now their little touch through from Savala. Josh King goes back. He's got absolutely no support. Savala tried to jackal him. Just got enough back. And the Bears try to break through again through Ronan Kerr.
Use!
And Murray Johnson sends that into touch.
The Heriots players combining to make it look like I almost know what I'm talking about there with Cammy Hutchison with a very physical tackle in the midfield. He got back to his feet quickly, won the space, and that forced the turnover. And then who should come in? Ian Wilson picks the ball up, little flick out the back door, and Savala with a kick down into the 22. And again, man I mentioned earlier, Josh King never given up today for the Bears, did well in defence.
Knock on, guys, advantage.
The line out just doesn't fall the way of Heriots, and Kubik is tackled.
It's advantage over.
Advantage is over. And just as advantage is called over, the pass is played forward. Sampicure strong in the tackle.
Guys, you've got
and the knock on into touch.
Scrum or line out. Scrum.
So they have a choice,
Knock
scrum or line out.
Come on, let's form it quick, guys.
Just as this was knocked on, Bruce, the advantage was called over.
Yeah, bad timing there, but great timing by Sampicure. Because it's risky doing that. There was a man outside if they had managed to get the ball through the hands, the Bears, but he just came flying in from out wide. Timed to perfection, and big hit, ball knocked on, and another attacking opportunity for Heriots with a couple of minutes left.
Crouch!
So coming into this one today, the Bears led Heriots by 4 points, but Heriots will take 4 points for the win, and then the bonus point try as well, which will put them above them in the table. The try for a 7th try here. 6th the last time they came here.
Knock on in the tackle there.
Counter ruck was good, but it comes back on the Heriots side. Bruce Houston.
Advantage over.
That's nonchalant for Bruce Houston. Just and no more, putting that on the wrong side of the line. Just the way he took the pass in with the arm, I'll drop that onto the foot, jab it through.
Well, we said it earlier, he's just so calm. He just does, looks like he has so much time, and it was a good option. It was just the wind foiled him on that occasion.
No, nobody's listening to me.
Sampicure down there.
Yeah,
he's had,
straight out.
I think, his best game of the sprint series so far. Likewise, Godsmark, he spent a lot of time at centre, but he's gone out onto the wing today. I know he's off the field now, but I think the two Scotland Sevens players have profited from having Hutchison and Savala inside him, and then Bruce Houston picking his options so well, trying to get the ball out into their hands. And it's the second time we've seen Picure come in as first receiver off the scrum, and he looks dangerous there.
Heriots come in today, 23 tries in 6 sprint games. They've scored half a dozen in this one. And just to prove the weather in Edinburgh has a sense of humour, the sun comes out in the final minute.
No, he was grand.
From Kubik. As the Bears try and drive forward. Hogg. Brown. Breaking his way through the pass out wide onto Jenkins. Hutchison came back. And again it's been ripped away. It was Bobby Kate. Callum Anderson then carried forward.
Backwards.
Scrum half had that stripped from him. Referee was happy with it. Blythe Lafferty. The Bears trying to end their season with a score. Little Jink came in for Ronan Kerr. Murray Johnson. Savala trying to provide the tackle, and Kubi providing the beef. Jack Fisher trying to drive his way forward down that far side. And Kubi again. Come off the bench more than any other player in the Super 6 between the championship. The sprint is the little pass on the far side, and that allows Adam Scott to go through. And they will finish with the final points of the game. And perhaps, Bruce Millar, it's just reward for the Bears and for their endeavour in the second half.
I think you're right there, yes. They've put a huge amount of work into today's game. Haven't always looked at their best, but did well there, just attacking down the blind side. One missed tackle, good strength there by Adam Scott to go over for their second score. And it was good work down this stand side. The left touchline was a misread in defence by Bobby Kay. Left the space for the Bears in the first instance. He went back, he made amends, but the Bears won the ball back, went through a few phases, attacked down, say that blind side and get themselves over the try line.
The final kick of the sprint series is taken And it is successful. And the full-time whistle goes. And it's Heriots Rugby who finished the season with the biggest smile. They've won by 38 points to 12 against the Boroughmuir Bears side, who scored the first try of the match. They scored the last try of the game. But Mootbart in between, half a dozen tries for Heriots, led by number 7 Ian Wilson, who scored 3 of them. And that's why the full-time scoreline at Meggetland, Heriots Rugby 38, the Boroughmuir Bears 12. Let's have a little look back at those best of the action from the second half. Half-time score was 14 points to 5 to Heriots, but Heriots were to prove quick starters in the second half. 2 tries when the opening 8 minutes. And that was the first of those. It was good play, and again McAndrew, his distribution the whole afternoon and Houston was great, and a lovely little wraparound and the touchdown there by Ian Wilson.
Houston did well because he carried the ball forward. If he had just thrown that ball out, the Bears defence would have slid across, but he carried it forward and picked his moment to give it to his centre. Great try.
And Ian Wilson was to be on the score sheet yet again. Again, it's just good play. And Ian Wilson getting his hat-trick on that occasion. Beautifully done. Ian Wilson managing to wrap round. That made it 26 points to 5. One noticeable was, of course, the kicking of Bruce Houston. Some terrific conversion attempts throughout the afternoon. And certainly horrible conditions for any kicker. Heriots' 5th try came from Rory Leishman. And really it was about the power at the scrum, and he had to hold the ball in well. He had to do very well with his feet to try and get that in, but again it was one of these positions, it was almost, there was no way the Bears could defend it.
And that was the first time in the game that we'd seen the Heriots scrum being quite so dominant. The line-out drive had been very good, but on that occasion, as you say, the scrum very, very strong. Rory Leishman just biding his time, picking up, dotting down.
Well, Heriots weren't done. And Sam Fakir reached out well. Again, it's the pass from 9, it's the quickness and the thought of Murdo McAndrew, who can be absolutely delighted with the way he's played for Heriots.
I thought McAndrew was absolutely superb today, whether he was distributing it, giving it to the forwards to carry, put it out in front of them and allowing them to run onto it, or giving it to his half-back partner, Bruce Houston. Again, lovely long pass over the top to Fakir.
And the last try of the afternoon came for Adam Scott, number 14. It's his first try for the Bears in Super 6 rugby, just spinning off Bobby Kate and getting the ball down. And the conversion attempt all the way through the posts. So it was Heriots' afternoon here at Meggetland. And they worked so hard and were rewarded in the end. Ian Wilson takes the headlines, the player of the match. And there's the award for Ian Wilson, number 7. And the smile as he gets his reward for all of his efforts this afternoon. And deservedly so as well. Gets a nice little handshake too. And he played well. You see, it's all about the tries to a certain extent, but it was more than that. He was all over the pitch this afternoon.
He's all, I mean, what is he, 31, yep. Something like that now. He's been a great servant for the club side and now the Super 6 side, former captain, but he's just everything you would want. I can remember watching him many years ago in an open side flanker, all action, gets around the park. I mentioned it earlier, he carried the ball hard, he put in some big hits in defence, he's a nuisance at the breakdown, and he knows what he's doing at the back of that driving line out.
Indeed he does. 21 games of the FOSROC Super 6 sprint. This is what the table looks like. Watsonians confirming as champions. Last night was a really terrific performance against Stirling County. County went all out for the final try, which would have brought them the points, but instead it was Jason Baggett who managed to get the interception and take it through. Stirling County and Ayr, the other two teams in the top half of the table. Southern Knights got their first win last weekend against Heriots. Boroughmuir Bears see a run of 3 straight wins coming to an end, and Heriots end their season with that bonus point win, and that is enough to take them above their rivals, Boroughmuir Bears. But our congratulations to Watsonians Rugby. Perfect 7 out of 7 Fergus Pringle's side enjoyed their celebrations last night. It's been a really entertaining FOSROC Super 6 Sprint Series. Lots of memorable moments as well. Thank you for watching our coverage. Thanks to all the team here. A reminder that the championship returns on the 5th of August when the FOSROC Super 6 will return. From all of the team here at Meggetland, thanks for watching. Bye for now.